Hey guys, Doogie Bowser here, and let's face it, I couldn't have been more wrong with my theory video, but hey, that's the fun in all of it, right? So anyways, today the devs had a special live stream of revealing the new killer and survivor and new map, a first to happen before the release of the PTB, which is more than exciting. They revealed their upcoming new killer, the Plague, a servant turned high priestess of Babylon during a horrific outbreak, driven by her faith to save her followers. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and with her last dying prayer, the entity answered. The biggest piece we were all waiting for has finally come to light as well, her power, also known as Vile Purge. She pukes, that's her power. Not gonna lie though, honestly I love it because it adds a new mechanic to the game that not only will affect survivors, but parts of the environment as well, infecting pallets and who knows what else we haven't seen yet, but probably windows as well? Not only will the survivors that are hit become sick, they appear to occasionally stop and vomit themselves, which could be a make or break in a chase. This increases over time, causing survivors to become fully sick. They become damaged and broken and puke regularly, which is noisy, so the use of a pool of devotion, or simply fountains, are needed to cleanse yourself. Though once one is used, the killer can use it to increase their power as well, especially since the killer can see a used fountain's aura. Now for the Plague's perks. First is Dark Devotion. This is an obsession perk, so it will only affect the current obsession. When the killer performs a basic attack to the obsession, their terror radius is removed from them and given to the survivor. For how long is unclear, but I'm sure it's similar to maybe Tinker's loss of terror radius with an almost completed gen. Next is Infectious Fright, and this one I feel is like having a tiny doctor in your pocket, because every time you down someone, any survivor within a certain range will scream in terror, revealing themselves to the killer. Last is Corrupt Intervention. This one feels to be a way to reduce gen progression early on. Generators are blocked by the entity for a certain amount of time at the start of the trial, and to add insult to injury, they are the ones located furthest from the killer, forcing players to move towards the killer to start working on gens. This causes a much smaller patrol area for the killer and a tougher start for the survivors. Now let's take a look at the opposition. Jane Romero, our newest survivor. Fitting name for someone opposite of a killer that spreads a disease, if you ask me. Jane is a TV co-host and well known after working hard to get where she is. Sadly, she is now in the fog, but hey, there are still some TVs and Learys, right? Okay, bad jokes aside, Jane comes with some of the most useful perks I feel have been given to us so far. Firstly, and probably one that will be a staple for all those healers out there, is Solidarity. This allows an injured survivor to heal 50% while healing another survivor fully. That means if you're an injured survivor healing another survivor and you use this perk, you're going to get back 50% of the healing needed for you to get back up one other health state. Second is Poised, which after completing a generator, the survivor will not leave scratch marks for a short time. This one is fantastic because I know way too many people that will sprint right after finishing a gen and the killer finds them, and they wonder why. And lastly is Head On, a perk that while in a locker for at least a few seconds will allow you to leap out into the killer and stun them if they're close enough. Add this with some quick and quiet, dive into a locker, and right before the killer goes to pull you out after figuring out your moves, bam! Stun them and run away. Remember though, this is an exhaustion perk, so be sure you're not on cooldown before using this. So on to the map, the biggest piece of the puzzle I was trying to figure out, and was completely wrong with. Temple of Purgation. No. Temple of Purgation. Purgation? Temple of Purgation is the new map, and it's an alternate of the Red Forest, which is nice, giving us a variation of the map similar to Father Campbell's Church and Crotus Pren. It appears to be half woods from the Red Forest, with a huge temple in the middle with a dungeon beneath, which will open and change the map after the gen below is completed. It feels grimy, damp, and cold, almost sickly, which fits perfectly into the lore. So I feel the Plague is almost a mix of, say, the Huntress or Clown, with a slight, albeit close, proximity ranged attack, with aspects like Pig needing to fix yourself before fully continuing, otherwise making the issue worse, and even a dab of Legion, with the risk of pallets becoming a factor, but in a good way. You can still loop and pallet stun, but you might become sick in the process. Overall, I feel this is going to be a solid chapter. Some people don't really play the Clown as much these days, and people despise Legion, but these guys are working hard to make us happy regardless, and for that we thank you. The Plague almost seems comical in a way, but it's also because we know behavior wants us to have a good time and aren't afraid to throw in some goofiness here and there, and they don't want to take everything too seriously. I never suspected a puking killer, but here she is in all of her glory. The PTB will come out sometime this week, so we can give the new chapter a try. And trust me, I'm excited to go hurl all over some survivors. Anyways, thanks for checking out the video, everyone, and I will see you all in the fog.